Hey, you guys, you're going to want to listen all the way through this episode because we are talking about mashing up movie titles like Barbenheimer or Glicked, or, as for this podcast, Shelley or Karen. Not as fun. Anyways, we'll talk movies and that'll be way more fun. Right, Kel?
Right, and we're also going to find out how Adele had a full circle moment at her Las Vegas residency, and this was before her last show, which happened to be her 100th weekend, which is crazy.
What?
Enjoy the show, everyone.
Oh, hey, girl, hey.
You can only say that because Adam's not here.
That's true. Though I don't think he'd mind it if I said it to him, just
Yeah,
because he's pretty agreeable.
yeah, he's a good fellow, that Adam.
Yep, we miss him. We'll always miss him.
Yeah, except he's still alive. Don't make it sound like he perished.
He has not perished. He's just taken on quite a bit of responsibility at work. So we may never see him again. No, I'm certain we're going to see him again. Once he gets everything all lined up and settled down, our little Adam will be back with us here on 90's Now, along with you guys. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. We have got a lot to get to as usual, not the least of which is we're going to tell you which legend applies the F word rule to taking on roles. Also, one of the greatest voices of our time has experienced just how fast 2 years can go. And surprisingly, she'll be able to talk about it, despite the social rules that go along with where she was and that would dictate otherwise. I know, super cryptic. Kelly's trivia will empower you to do better in your life. I mean, hopefully, unless you get them right, which who does?
Yeah.
Also, your 90's rewind will dive right into the middle of our favorite decade. And since the anticipation for the theatrical release for two blockbuster films has happened, I thought we should start there. Start at the movies. Can you not even smell the popcorn?
You know what is funny with movie popcorn is when everybody's had the popcorn, like you're in the theater, and I'd say about like half of the way through the movie, then it smells like decayed popcorn, like movie popcorn.
Smells like there should have been a refresher on the popcorn.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You
no
kind
such
of
luck.
you kind of wonder what's going on your insides if that's what you smell on the outside.
You know what? I can tell you, I wasn't wondering what was going on in my insides, but now the next time I have it, I probably won't be able to unthink what's going on in my
Yeah.
insides.
And what's
Ah,
crazy too is like I'm very happy to put a movie theater, but it's interesting, like legit, how much they get you on the food sourcing.
and interesting how much it costs. We were talking about that on our show this week. It's Tuesday. That's an indication of what our week is like.
Yeah.
And we talked about it yesterday. How much just popcorn is. My co-host was saying that he had gone to a movie and spent $12.50 on popcorn.
Yeah, it's bananas.
I thought, what is that? Like a garbage bag size for
Yeah.
12? It's popcorn. It's corn that is applied hot air to and it pops.
Yeah.
12.50
Yeah.
because it's 2.50 for the butter.
Yeah, it's crazy. And
And this is Canadian dollars, so it's probably more than that elsewhere.
yeah, I usually get the drink thing because I just think it's hilarious to see a vat of Coke that big.
Man. I'm logical and visual, and
Yeah.
I think I know my bladder's not that big.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to fit all that in my belly?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyways, deep thoughts. And really, we've talked about our insides probably
Wait.
more than anybody wants to discuss. So let's talk about the movie itself, Kel,
Yeah.
because while part
Yeah.
of the promotion for films these days is, especially when there's two biggies released at the same time, is that they end up, mashing up the titles. So like Barbenheimer from
Yeah.
last year, that was a big deal. No, no two movies could have been more opposite,
Hmm.
which is, I think, what made them sound kind of, cute as Barbenheimer. But similarly, Glicked
Yeah.
took on Gladiator 2 and Wicked. And because there was more emphasis on it sounding more like Wicked, Glicked kicked some box office butt.
Yeah.
Or should I say, Wicked kicked some box office butt. It's confusing. Huge numbers for this movie that I have every intention of seeing because I saw it just looks incredible. And we know that the musical was great. I never got to see the musical. I just know that it was great. Um, Ariana Grande, enough said. Her voice is remarkable. Cynthia Erivo, also very good. I saw her in an interview recently with Graham Norton, and she just sort of went into singing Aretha Franklin because she played her in the movie
Hmm.
a couple of years ago. And I thought that is pure talent. So to have those powerhouses together to me is no surprise. I mean, Gladiator 2 is obviously going to be spectacular, literally by definition of the word.
Hmm.
But there's something about musicals, man, that really speak to my heart.
Are you gonna go see Gladiator though?
I don't know. Maybe.
I
The other thing about movies is that everything's expensive and they don't seem to keep the movie in the theater for a long time.
Right, right. I think
So
we should go to Gladiator together.
should we?
Would you go with me?
I don't see why not.
So that'll be a December plan.
All right. Well, what I think I just heard is that you're treating me to popcorn.
Yes. Yeah. And a big vat of Coke that neither of us will be able to drink.
I am trying to finish the
Yeah.
cola.
Yeah, my better half and I, we buy one. So, because then we can do the split thing.
Of
Although
course.
I get annoyed if I think she's drinking more than her half.
And you make the little toward the neck
Yeah.
gesture, like cut it.
Yeah.
That's enough out of you, or it's enough into you. Uh,
Yeah.
what I think is interesting about Wicked also is how it stats are showing that it's now the best opening for a Broadway film adaptation.
Yep.
Also, the third biggest domestic debut behind for this year, behind Deadpool and Wolverine and Inside Out 2, which sidebar I saw while I was away in Jamaica.
Was it good?
Incredible.
Okay.
Incredible. It's so worth seeing. You saw Inside Out, the first one?
No.
It's so worth it, Kelly. It's not even, I mean, it's an animated film, but it hits so many things. And then Inside Out 2, you're like, oh, it's so well depicted, or the story is so well told. The way they describe the emotions as characters inside of us is incredible.
Really, eh?
Yes, and again, you need to see the first one because you need to have an idea of what's going on.
Okay.
Um, but the second one is like, oh my goodness, that's really good and totally applicable to your younger self.
Okay.
I think it's important viewing actually because they talk about anxiety
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
and they explain it in a way that sort of makes you realize, like you sort of smile when you realize what they're doing, and then they do it so well that it sort of stops you in your tracks, and you're like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
very well done.
You know what's interesting about because it's funny, like you talk about your younger self and like anxiety and all that stuff. I really wish that when I had been in high school, and maybe this was because it was the sign of the times and it was the 90s or whatever, I really wish that somebody would have come in that was maybe like 10 years older than we were at the time, like 25 or even maybe let's say 30, just so that they had the 20s out of the way to
Yeah,
tell everybody like it's going to be okay. Like you're going to get through the 20s and try to enjoy them.
yeah,
Like don't take yourself too seriously because I think so many people waste their 20s being anxious.
I agree with you, and it's almost like you don't hear it the same way coming from your parents a lot of the times
Hmm.
because there is that veil of, well, how do you know, like because you have that kid system of mental management of forgetting that they were your age once.
Hmm.
But you would argue as a kid anyways, you don't know, it's not the same, that kind of stuff. But to
Yeah.
have somebody say the exact same thing as your parents would, but just because they're not your parents, it
Yeah.
is an important message. I think you're right. And that would be a great guest. Hey, we have a guest speaker today. It's you 10 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because you like in all seriousness, like, and we've talked about this on the show before, like you helped talk me out of my tree when I was in my late 20s to like calm the hell down. And you just being that almost decade older, just like I knew you weren't like you got it because you weren't that far ahead of me, but like you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's why I always hope when I speak to people that are younger, like I try to be that for them also.
Yeah.
I want them to understand that I get it, but also like you need to listen to me because I'm not like I'm telling you this is gonna be okay, you
Yeah.
know? So
Agreed.
yeah.
Just the way a younger person's um, synapses, it's always on. You're always thinking, thinking, thinking. You need a break.
Hmm.
You need to take a minute and
Yeah.
just sort of
And you know
let
what's
some stuff
interesting
sink
too is,
in.
and I'm hoping that because not that this is a psychological show, by the way, but like
But
I
we're killing it.
we're killing it. I was with my acupuncturist yesterday, and he was telling me that he's like, if you are ever catch yourself like overthinking or worrying, he's like for whatever, he's like, but if you catch yourself doing that, either of those two things, he's like, you need to acknowledge it real quick and know that that's not a normal state of being and to know that you won't stay in that state. So try to get yourself out of it as soon as possible. I thought that was such a helpful piece of advice because like it's so easy when you start down the rabbit hole of like whatever you're worried about and then it snowballs and you're crossing bridges that aren't even there. But if
Totally.
you pull yourself out of it, and that's what I wish I had been capable of doing in my 20s would be to see like this is not helping and
Hmm.
just pull yourself out or have
Yep.
tools to pull yourself out. Like I just thought that was such a great. So if anybody's listening right now, please know that if you're in a state of worry or overthinking, that's not a normal place for your body to be in.
And you can tell yourself that, and it's okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're not going to overthink your stuff, but you can maybe turn the notch down a bit.
Yeah.
And I would like to suggest a physical approach to triggering some calm,
Mhm.
which is that you use the palm of your hand, but like where the pads are, where your fingers meet your hand,
Yeah.
and put some pressure just below your sternum.
Oh yeah.
Put your other hand on top of that and give a not a push like as if you're giving yourself air, but like a press and
Okay.
hold it down. And it's in that area. I saw a guy on Instagram. This is his job.
Yeah.
He's a physical therapist and a
Yeah.
trainer and all those things. And anyway, so you press that and it triggers something in you that is a calming
Oh wow.
thing. And I have needed it more times than I can count this year.
Hmm.
And every single time, I am happy to say it has worked for me.
That's great.
So you're lying down and you press and you take a couple of deep breaths in and out. And
Yeah.
then it like, I mean, and my issue is at night when I go to bed and my wheels start turning and it's like, I can't stop this car, you know? And I really need to go to bed and I really need to fall asleep because my alarm's going to go off like a punch in the face either way. So some sleep would be better than none sleep, you know?
Yeah.
So that has helped and knocked me out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It
amazing.
works.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. No, I think I just like, and I know maybe in the times of the 90s, we weren't there yet for everybody to know and to share and to whatever. But because it's funny that we're even talking about this, because I'm actually toying with the fact of reaching out to my high school because my niece is in grade 11, so she's just about out. And my other
Wow.
niece is in grade 9, and they've had me in before to do like career talks and whatever. I've never done it though for my nieces and or when they've been a part of it, and I kind of want to go do that for them with their friends because I would like it to be of help to them, like as they, because I think when
Yeah.
you're grade 11 and I, for us, that's the last, year in high school here in Quebec before you go off to post-secondary. And I wish looking back that I did enjoy grade 11, but I would have enjoyed it more had I calmed down a bit. But I was so like just trying to like have the best grades possible to get into the CJEP I wanted and all that stuff. And I wish I had spent a bit more time just enjoying being in grade 11 and enjoying my friends and kind of realizing like it wasn't, you're not going to be together again. Like everybody's going off in different directions and I don't know about you, Sharon, but the minute I graduated high school, life sped up like 2 times.
Oh yeah.
And and days and weeks go by way faster than ever. Like I can't believe it was my 30th, anniversary of graduating high school this year. Like where did 30 years go? Crazy.
No
So,
kidding.
mhm.
Wow. Well, we appreciate you guys listening to the show today.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Yeah.
See how fast it goes. Um, Obviously, going to the movies, which is where we started the show today, if that's something that's going to calm you down too, then I mean, kind of do whatever works
Hmm.
in the healthy choice department.
Hmm.
And if listening to 90s Now helps, you can let us know by, well, letting us know.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to send us a line, you can do that. We're all over social media and very reachable. But ultimately, congratulations to the two films that did very well with their millions and millions of dollars. It was just that Wicked did slightly better, if not double. what Gladiator 2 did, but
Were you
obviously
were you
big bank.
surprised, Sharon, that it doubled? Like that it was that
No,
I kind of was like I thought it would have been a closer race because like I think obviously the numbers will have changed by the time people are listening to this, but when we saw the numbers, it was I think 114 million opening weekend for Wicked and
yeah,
50 something for Gladiator 2.
yeah.
Crazy. I did not ex I thought it would have been way closer.
Well, you know what? There's still time, Kel.
Yeah.
Still time.
Yeah. Did you see, last thing before you move on, I didn't see either of Oppenheimer or
I saw
Barbie.
both.
Okay. Which one was your favorite? Barbie?
Yeah, I like the message in Barbie. I love the consistency. I love that it was somewhat playful, but also somewhat serious.
Hmm.
A good balance of both. Oppenheimer told a great story. I found it took a little while to get to the meat of it,
Hmm.
but it's almost like once it hit that third gear, it was like, okay, here we go.
Hmm.
So well told, both, but obviously two different experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I love going to movies. I love watching movies. I do love the smell of popcorn and how it's really just seared into the seats.
Yeah.
I love the experience. So it's
Yeah.
it's such an escape.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of escape, escape the hope that you think you can go 2 for 2 for Kelly's trivia, or maybe you're just ready. Are
Yeah.
you ready, Kel?
I'm always ready for trivia because I never have to answer these.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Bing bong.
So Sharona, art and literature or sport? Where would you like to start?
I'll start sport.
Okay. Which tennis star won his only Wimbledon title in 1992?
Stefan Edberg.
Oh, that's a great guess. Actually,
Thank
can I let
you.
you guess again because
Yeah.
you're gonna think it's not the person that it is because of what I've just said.
Pete Sampras.
The other one, long hair
Oh,
man.
Andre Agassi.
Yeah.
He only won one
Yeah.
Wimbledon?
Which tennis star won his only Wimbledon title in 92?
Oh,
Andre
wow.
Agassi.
Huh.
I thought he won it a bunch of times. Although Pete Sampras was like the dude, wasn't he? Didn't he always seem to edge Andre like a bit?
Yes.
Kind of like Federer and was it Nadal?
Nadal. Hmm.
And by the way, congratulations on Nadal's retirement. He was my fave, so I what a sweet man and like just classy fella.
Yeah. Congratulations and well-earned retirement from a sport that he dominated and inspired while he was on top of it,
Mhm.
which he seemed to be most of his career. But even when he was not, he
Yeah.
was a solid competitor.
Yeah. You know what's funny is my better half, because she is a pretty big tennis fan, and I forget who it is now, which is probably best, but she was like, listen to this. They always grunt in a certain way. And then like now whenever I see that person, and again, I can't remember who it is, I'm like, oh my God, they always grunt that way. Like I can't.
You know that Rafa had a real regimen when he served of, it was likely, I'm going to say OCD ticks,
Okay.
and no disrespect, but it
Yeah.
was, probably that combined with superstition and habit. And, I find tennis players, for the most part, all have that sort of system of doing their things and touch this and fix, adjust, and touch
Yeah.
the nose and then get ready, bounce, bounce, bounce 5 times and then serve,
Yeah.
which is, it's time consuming.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. And surely, whether it was ticks or habits or whatever, it also was a tactic
Yeah.
to waste some time to throw your competitor or your opponent off their game a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's too much
Yeah.
sometimes.
Did I ever tell you that so when I was competing a lot in karate, for a time I called it psychological warfare. So
Yeah.
I would scope out who my competition would be for the because usually as a black belt you're always fighting last. So so you have time to kind of figure out who's going to be in your category or who you think is going to be in. So I would then put on my hoodie, and I always wear a bandana in karate, so I have bandana, and then I'd have my headphones on, and I would have my black belt on underneath the hoodie, like with my karate pants on, and I would walk around and like find them and just like look through them like they were a piece of garbage. And
I'm nervous.
yeah, and the best that part was like I had a girl come up to me like after and she's like, "You scared me so much." She's like, "You just look like you're gonna kill me." That's like great, it works. So
And you're like, nice to meet you. I'm
yeah,
going to kill you.
yeah, exactly. So there is a thing for psychological warfare in sport. Yeah,
You got to do what you got to do.
that's right. Art and literature.
Yeah.
Which book by Jane Smiley retells the story of Shakespeare's King Lear on a farm in Iowa?
I don't know.
I don't think you've ever said that. You're not going to venture a
Let's see. Twister.
very nice. A
Oh,
Thousand Acres.
who was in that?
No idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Back to you, Sharon.
Super. Anywho,
Yep.
noted. 1,000 acres. How about this? The woman who's applied the F word rule to her career is Carol Burnett.
Yay.
Yay, 91 years old. Then the F word isn't what you think it is, unless you think it's fun.
Yep.
She says that that's the only thing she looks for when it comes to work is it going to be fun? Which
Yep.
at 91 years old, 25 Emmy nominations. She's got the Presidential Medal of Freedom
Mhm.
and a current role on Palm Royale,
Yep.
which she says will likely be her last acting role or on camera job. Um, she says, unless there's a cameo or something fun coming up.
I feel like she should keep going as long. I actually had this discussion today with my dentist because he's like, people are asking me if I'm retiring. I'm like, you're too young for that. He's like, it's true, I'm not. So, and
Yeah.
then we had a whole discussion on how people shouldn't retire because you crumble and fall apart and die. So,
Honestly, I had a similar conversation today about retirement, and I discuss retirement with my friends on our weekend walks because it's fun to think of that.
mhm.
It's fun to think, oh, well, when we don't have to wake up to go to work and we can do whatever we want. I mean, I'm fortunate. I love my job. I'm happy to be working. I know my friend who is closer to retirement than any of us also loves what she does,
Mhm.
but she's ready.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah. And we're young. I mean, when you think of 65 as the age that you can retire, I think that the best advice I was ever given was, don't wait for retirement to do the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Because at that point, if you're waiting till you're 65, you may have the time to do it, but physically, if you haven't paid attention to,
Yeah.
staying fit or whatever, or just by nature of time,
Mhm.
things start to, not work as well as they used to. So um, it's almost like that compartmentalization of retirement, then this will happen and then it will be great. It's almost like you have to sprinkle in the great now because
Yeah.
no one's guaranteed any time at any time.
Yeah. It's funny because my dentist said to me today too, he said that his dad worked till he was 84. And I said, "Oh, is he a dentist too?" And he said, "No, he was a travel agent and he loved it." So he just
Oh,
kept
wow.
going. I thought that was amazing. An 84-year-old travel agent? That's
Yeah. You got your finger on all the portals of info and the ports of call,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you're seeing what's new and fun, and you probably get treated, to fun things. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And even too, like we talked about Betty White last week on the show with the postage stamp. And like she kept going right like really right up until the end. Like
Yeah.
I'd have to check what the last thing she did, but I'm sure she probably did it within the year of her death because I don't think she was in bad shape at the end either. Like it just
She was just 99,
yeah,
soon to be 100.
soon to be 100.
Now, the interesting thing about the Carol Burnett interview, it was with Variety magazine, and part of the article that we read was that she doesn't talk politics much. She
Mhm.
doesn't like to do that, but she did infer in the interview that she was feeling optimistic and hopeful. And I thought, with the way things are going, things are going to be good, basically was what she was saying. And so I thought I should check the date on this article. And it was October, which means that they would have interviewed her before October. It might have been weeks,
Yeah.
but it certainly wasn't after the American election.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, it was saying that she was optimistic for the charge that Kamala Harris was creating.
Yeah.
But we know how it went. So on we go. Just kidding. I make a joke. Um, we're talking about one of the greatest voices of our time and how uh, she's felt firsthand, certainly, how fast 2 years can go.
Hmm.
And it's Adele.
Yeah.
So after a great 2 year run of rocking it in Vegas, she's done.
Yeah.
And she's allowed to talk about it, even though what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. She can talk about how she feels. Pretty cool stuff, eh, Cal?
Yeah. Did you read the part in the article? Because I think it was in that article, or maybe it was another one that I read, where she said that she actually got closure for the show a few weeks back when Celine Dion came to it.
Oh man, that clip was powerful. And
Mm.
gosh, like, how could she not? She didn't, it seemed like she didn't know that Celine was going to be there,
Yeah.
but she held it together for it being a surprise. I thought she was emotional. She showed that.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, like she could have lost it and not been able to pull it back together. But she really, it
Yeah.
was like it was like this meeting of two powers,
Yeah.
that totally understand what it is that they have as their gift.
Hmm.
And, I think Celine Dion is such a great picture of inspiration on many levels, but she knows what she has in a student
Yeah.
like Adele.
Yeah. And I just thought that was amazing too, like, because it's like it was almost like, let's say, Kobe Bryant getting to play with Magic Johnson or something. Like if the I don't know exactly who Kobe's person was, or but like I think even LeBron playing with Kobe, let's say, because he looked up to Kobe so much. So and or it would be like me getting to have like hang time with Janet where she's admiring what I do, and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that was what it was for Adele. So it was so because like when you saw the crying with her and Celine, like that was like visceral. Like
Yeah,
y-
like nobody else is here and we're having our moment.
yeah,
Oh wait,
yeah,
there's a couple thousand people here. I got to get back to it.
yeah. Like and like and what's you and I have talked about this before, like how cute it is that Adele is such fans of the Spice Girls. Like
Yeah.
so it's just like it's all just like full circle moments for her that she was able to become a massive star like the Spice Girls did, and in a different way obviously because she's not a pop act, but it's just yeah, like it's and she was also too, you could see, I don't know if you saw the clip. I think it showed up on some sort of a social media platform for me, but like she was saying goodbye to the crowd on her last show, and because she's so cute when she gets emotional, she just like blubbers and blathers and
Oh
like
yeah.
does
And
everything
and swears.
and swears. She did swear in this, and she actually said, "I'm basically bleeping myself right now because I don't know what's coming next." And I
Ah,
guess she usually has a plan on some level, and she's like,
yeah.
"I don't know when I'm going to perform again. I really don't know what's next." But she's like, "I will be back," because she's like, "I'm only good at this."
Hmm.
Which is it's pretty good if that's what you're
Yeah.
you're only
It's good
good
to
at.
have one thing, Adele.
It's good to have one thing. But
What is
I just thought that like she's very sincere, and I think and authentic. We've talked about that before. I think that's why so many people gravitate to her because as glamorous as she can be on stage, she's like a down home girl. And
yeah.
so I think people feel very much seen in her.
Well, it's cool that she's so well respected. She's been shown by fans buying her music, buying tickets to her shows. She's been awarded with, all the top awards that you can win for doing what she does. And she was thankful to her family, to her partner, to her 14-year-old son, Angelo, who she said, to my son, I chose to do a residency because I effing hate touring.
Yeah.
But I chose to do a residency so I could keep his life normal. And I did do that. But I also wouldn't change it for the world. I get to be with him on the weekends now because obviously he can't always come. So I love you to bits. Thank you for being patient with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, word on the street is that I think why she hasn't planned anything else is because she does hope to be pregnant again.
Wow.
Yeah, she wants another one. So, because I don't, what is she, 36? Like 30, like she's,
Let's count the albums. There was 19,
yeah,
21, 25. Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually just have the article open here and I was looking at, I saw her partner's age, which is 43, not her age.
yeah. I think she's like, mid 30s or whatever. So I think she really does want to have another baby. And I think that's why she's left things open-ended. Because it was even funny. I was watching a clip of something about Taylor Swift a couple of like probably months ago. And I remember how she was talking about how like I'm paraphrasing now, but it was something to the effect of like they plan her life in like 2-year blocks.
Hmm.
Like it's like this is the touring time and then you'll break and then you're gonna have to record and an album cycle's coming and like just all that stuff. So I that's how they it's funny how like we have our life. Like, well, let's say you're a teacher, you kind of know, okay, my summers are this, then I'm teaching. I've got 2 weeks off at Christmas, then I'm teaching again. And then for us in radio, like we know there's certain times of the year we can or cannot take vacation and like all that stuff. And I guess it's the same thing for artists. Like they know when they're in an album cycle, like they gotta push and
Hmm.
go crazy for, 18 months or whatever it is, and then hopefully get a break. So
It's neat. I mean, it's important to have those people in your life take care of those details because that's what makes you feel like that's what it sounds like it could suck the creative possibilities if you let it, like
yeah.
you have to be so planned and so organized and just because stuff takes the time it takes.
Yeah.
But if you have people taking care of that stuff, then you can focus on the
Yeah.
thing that your strength, which is
Yeah.
great.
And
It's good for her.
I think Taylor and Beyonce handled themselves very well with how they planned their most recent tours because Taylor was able to have breaks. Beyonce
Agreed.
was able to have breaks. And I think it was just ingenious because I guess I've never would have thought about it before to like because like Sharon, you name your favorite artist, I name mine, like Janet, like she's doing like if she's going out on tour, I mean it's a bit less now like the months of touring she's doing, but she's still doing like a Monday, Tuesday, maybe off Wednesday, then a Thursday, then a Sunday and like but then with Taylor and Beyonce it was like they're doing 3 nights and then they're off for like 4 and then another 3 and then they're off and they might be off for 2 weeks before. So they really planned that out, but they had so much on their plates with these
Oh
like
yeah.
epic concerts, like epic.
Spectacles,
Yeah,
literal spectacles.
yeah,
And
yeah.
interesting, I noticed with Taylor's shows, she did those 6 in Toronto, and there were spaces in between where the Kansas City Chiefs were playing on the Sunday.
Mm,
So she would have been off those days,
yeah,
which is fine. Make your schedule, live your life,
yeah.
do your thing, ladies.
As a billionaire, you can do it.
Yes. And if you need any help, I can help you.
Yeah. They should clearly come to us for psychological
We
assistance.
obviously have the answers. Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Yep.
Well, what we also have is a 90s rewind. You ready for that?
Do it.
There's a handful of movie songs from the middle of our fave decade. So we're going back to around this time in 1995. And the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. If anybody can take a word like shoop and sexy it up, it's Whitney Houston.
Yep.
So exhale, shoop, shoop. It was number one. And it debuted at number one around this time in 1995. Also, the Dangerous Minds soundtrack. Yeah.
God.
It's Gangsta's Paradise. So it's Coolio, may he rest in peace, and LV on the Dangerous Minds soundtrack that featured, the film itself featured Michelle Pfeiffer.
Hmm.
The song itself is a sample of Stevie Wonder's Pastime Paradise from Songs in the Key of Life. So there is a 90s element for sure, but also a 70s throwback because Stevie Wonder.
Hmm.
Batman Forever was the movie that marked the start, or the end rather, for Michael Keaton's run as Batman because Val Kilmer was Batman and Seal was on the soundtrack with Kiss for a Rose. Now, I go back to the shoop shoop thing, like, okay, because that sounds great. Way to go, Whitney Houston. What exactly is a kiss from a rose? Seal's not talking about that, never has, never will. What's happening with you and your rose, though? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song, but what? It's
Yeah.
almost like don't think too much about it, you'll wreck it, which clearly I'm doing.
Yeah.
Uh, Darius Rucker as Bob Dylan. No, not really. This song is not from the soundtrack, but I Only Want to Be With You, Hootie and the Blowfish. That song that featured a good chunk of Bob Dylan tune that Hootie and the Blowfish learned pretty quickly that you cannot use someone else's lyrics, even if it's intended to compliment them.
Oopsie.
Whoop de doo. And how about Breakfast at Tiffany's from Deep Blue Something? That's one of those songs that I think you say and you have to say like you sing it. Wanna breakfast at Tiffany's. To me, this was the most British sounding band from Texas. They sounded like British ladies. Anyways, Deep Blue Something, one hit wonder for the most part. Breakfast at Tiffany's. And to go to some real Brits to wrap up a handful of tunes from 1995, we've got take that, and a song that as soon as I say what it is, will be in your head too for the rest of the day because it's been in mine all day. Back for good. Want
Oh
you
yeah.
back. Want you back. Want you back for good.
It's
Whatever
such
I said.
yeah.
Sorry, see? Can't not do it. That's your 90s rewind, by the way.
Fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
I would like to just leave us on something that I think you will enjoy, and I hope anybody listening and or watching will do this. Somehow my better half was on, so she has YouTube Premium that she
Mm-hmm.
is whatever. I think it's $15 a month or something. Anyways, she found this the other day, something, and then it came up in her algorithm, and now she's obsessed with it. The American National Aerobic Championships from like the 80s and the 90s. And last night, so she made me watch something from the 80s, like the night before, and it was a lot. Like it was very Jane Fonda with like the headband and the ankle warmers and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I felt better watching the 90s ones because A, I saw my sister's haircut a million times. Like, and then she pointed out, she's like, that's the 1992 Princess Diana cut. And literally every girl that was in this competition, like no matter what color they were, all had the like mushroom lady cut
Oh, yes.
from the 1990s, early 90s. And I just think I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, that's my sister from 1992. Like every chick had that hairstyle.
That's
So,
funny.
and then like, so please just Google like American National Aerobic Championships 1992 and enjoy
There's
because
a, yeah.
you can like Sharon, it's honestly, it's like the Christmas gift that keeps giving. Like, because
Sometimes those things are fun to watch without music.
yeah.
They just are going for it.
And what was crazy too is, and Elaine pointed that out to me, my better half. She said, you know, because I said to her, I'm like, how long did this go on? Like, how long was that a thing? You know, because like we don't, I'm sure people still aerobic, like aerobicize, but like you don't hear of it much, right, anymore. And so she said that she checked, and it was from like, I think she said 84 to 95 was this particular championship, like every year was going on. And she said, you know why I love watching it? She said, obviously, it's amazing to just see how tacky everything is in a way. But she's like, also, she's like, you look at it and you know the time that it was, and nobody, like, they were super into it. Like the crowd that was there, the audience, the you know the athletes, because they are athletes, right, like doing
Of
this, like,
course.
like they're insane in shape, it's crazy. And she's like, you know, none of this would have like been made into a meme or made fun of because that wasn't the time, like there was no social media then. So she's
Right.
like, you can just watch this and transport yourself back to the 90s and like feel good and have a good giggle, and it's cute, and see all these ripped bodies. Like
Yeah.
it was really cool.
And
Yeah.
see some high top soft leather Reeboks with a Velcro strap at the ankle.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
should have been more sprained ankles at that
I
time.
don't know how I said to her too when I saw these like crazy, because like you know they come out and they've got like I don't know if it's 90 seconds to go, like they're doing, because the one category I watched was like the like a partner like so men woman synchronized, you know, performance.
Hmm.
It was so funny, Sharon. Like the two people calling it, like literally looked like they were calling a basketball game. Like they had the headphones on, and it was like a sports announcer, because I think it was on like ESPN or something. Like it was a sports announcer, and then his color commentary chick, I think her name was like Christine Prickett or something. And I guess she was a former like one of these, and she's like, they have to come out and do 4 hitch kicks and 4 push-ups and like all this stuff. And then like anyways, they come out to this rockin' like early 90s dance bonanza, and like they're going nuts, and like they're in insane shape, like an absolute, but like you said, how they didn't sprain an ankle on those high tops, I really don't know.
And if they don't take it to a lunge, they're done.
Yeah. Anyway, so please enjoy yourself, and Google that if you need to feel better about life. Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you and that you found us wherever it is that you did. Thank you very much for doing that. Thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.